I'm going to call the meeting to order. We begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. If we could have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Harper Pedersen.
Present.
Commissioner Gutierrez.
Present.
Commissioner Bergman.
Present.
Commissioner Bradley.
Here.
Chair Silberman.
Here. The next item on the agenda is public comment. And before I do that, I just observed, my understanding is that the billboard item is going, there's going to be a request to continue it?
That's correct.
Okay. So we are not going to be calling the billboard item in case anyone is here for that. However, this is public comment, and at this point, anyone who would like to comment on something that is not on the agenda, this is your opportunity to do so. The Commission may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed as allowed by the Brown Act. However, the Commission's general practice is to refer items to staff for attention or have a matter placed on future Commission agendas for a more comprehensive action or report. Is there anyone here to speak on an item that is not on the agenda, including the billboard item? Seeing that only people want to talk about Craftsman's in here, I will go ahead and move on to the next item, approval of the minutes. Does anyone have any changes to the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes as published.
All right.
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Harper Pedersen.
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez.
Yes.
Commissioner Bergman. Abstain. Commissioner Bradley.
Yes.
Chair Silberman.
Yes. I just note for the minutes, and they've already been approved, I did observe that the vote on the marijuana ordinance was listed as 3-0, even though it clearly indicates in the minutes that I voted against it. I don't really think that it needs to be changed. I mean, there were 3 votes in favor, and you really don't need to record the loser any more than you already have. But if you do want to change it, you certainly can. Okay. With that, I think we could probably take the billboard item out of order. Is there a date certain that you're asking us to continue it to?
To the next regular meeting of, it's November 6th. November 6th.
Okay. Can I have a motion
So
to?
moved.
All right.
Second.
All right. So there's a motion to move it to November 6th and a second. Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Harper Pedersen.
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez.
Yes.
Commissioner Bergman.
Abstain.
Commissioner Bradley.
Yes.
Chair Silberman.
Yes. All right. So now we're going to do the public hearing on 1125 Dayton Avenue. I'm going to briefly read the procedure for public hearing. Staff will present a report on the history, physical features, et cetera, on the application, followed with the staff's recommendation. The applicant may then make a presentation. Thereafter, interested members of the community may speak on the proposal. When all interested parties have had an opportunity to be heard, the hearing will be closed and no further discussion from the floor can be held. The Commission will consider the evidence and make its recommendation. If you challenge a public hearing item in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else has raised at the public hearing described in this notice, the public notice, or in written correspondence delivered to the city editor prior to the public hearing. We ask that speakers fill out a speaker's form found by the door and hand it to the recording secretary prior to addressing the Commission. The speaker should come up to the microphone to speak since the meeting is being recorded, and this will assist staff in preparing the minutes. So, 1125 Dayton, I imagine there's probably a presentation.
There is. Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Andrea Martisich, and I'll be presenting this item this evening. The request before you is for design review approval for a new residence with an associated determination of the creek setback at 1125 Dayton Avenue. So this is the location, and one of the graphics moved, so it's not in the middle of Howard Street. It's on Dayton Avenue between Britton and Howard. It is this, it's colored yellow, which is probably not very easy to see on the left. But on the right, I wanted to point out the irregular shape of the lot, as well as the fact that Britton Creek bisects the lot right down the middle. The lot itself is about 12,000 square feet and is zoned RS6 single family. There are several protected trees on the property, including a large redwood along the creek bank. No protected trees are proposed for removal as part of this project. So these are the existing conditions. On the left side, you see the front of the house. The foliage on the right, so that kind of tall shrub along the right of the driveway, is where the creek is located. As you can see, the paving goes right up to the edge of the creek currently. And then the picture on the right is actually a view from the rear of the house, looking down on the house, and you can see a structure kind of closest to us. That's the garage and bonus room, as well as the pool. All of those structures, the house, the garage, and the pool, are proposed to be demolished, and the pool will be filled in as well. So these graphics demonstrate kind of the footprint and impervious area of the existing residence as compared to what's proposed. So on the left is the existing residence, and you can see there's a detached garage and bonus room towards the back of the property. In terms of what's proposed, all of the square footage for the lot would now be proposed to be located within the residence itself. So the garage would move up to the front right off of Dayton rather than along the long driveway, and all of the living space would move into a single-story house. And then you can also see the shaded gray area, which is the impervious area. On the existing map comes almost right up to the property line, which is where the creek is, and with the new proposals being proposed to be pulled back a bit. In terms of square footage, the new residence would be 3,737 square feet, including the garage, and then the previous square footage for the structures before was slightly over 3,000, so it's about a 700 square foot increase. So this is the site plan for the site. On the left is Dayton Avenue. So you can see, and I'll go over the creek location on another slide and show it a bit better, but I just wanted to show here the location of the proposed footprint for the house, as well as the new landscaping that is proposed. The applicant is not removing any existing protected trees, but they are proposing a choyan at the rear and a coast live oak up at the front of the property. And then this is the floor plan. It is a single-story residence, so just one level. And on the right side of the residence, which is the lower part of the screen, it's a pretty open floor plan with a large covered porch. And then on the left side is the proposed garage and the bedrooms. And so these are the elevations, the front elevation and rear. And I'll go over the materials in 1 minute for all of those. And then the right and the left. So the right elevation is the one that will be facing the creek itself, whereas the left elevation is facing the neighbor. So this is a rendering prepared to demonstrate the house kind of in relation to what's there now. So you see the existing neighbor's house on the left. I wanted to point out there's kind of to the right of the house, those three large bushes over there, that's where the existing driveway is now. So they're proposing to fill that in with some vegetation. In terms of materials, the body would be hardy shingle and blue. And at the bottom of the residence is stone veneer that's proposed along the whole front at the bottom. The garage door will be in a craftsman style with sectional doors and windows with divided lights. And then the roof is proposed to be composition shingle and gray. So as part of this proposal, the applicant is also requesting for determination of creek setback. As there is a creek that bisects the property, it is located in the Stream Development and Maintenance Overlay District. And per that district, our municipal code requires a 25-foot setback from the top of bank. Within that setback, people are allowed to do very limited work. storm drain work, vegetation maintenance, and grading for conservation. Anything beyond that is not allowed within the 25 feet. However, the municipal code does allow the Planning Commission to determine an alternate distance, and that is what the applicants are requesting this evening. However, in order to do that, we do require a biological study to make sure there's not some adverse impacts that would be created with a proposal of less than 25 feet. So this map demonstrates the 25-foot setback. So the blue lines represent the top of bank. In cases where we've seen this before, we've almost always seen a creek go at the rear of a property, so we're only dealing with one 25-foot setback. For this property, because it goes right in the middle, we have a 25-foot setback on either side. So the blue represents roughly where the creek is, and the red represents the 25-foot setback line were they to follow it. So in this case, the applicant is requesting a creek setback as demonstrated by the plan. So at the closest point, it's about 4 feet to the top of bank, and it varies as it moves along. One thing we wanted to do was tie the approval, if approved, the setback determination to the plans themselves, so that there's not, a 4-foot setback along the whole top of bank. It really applies directly to what's being proposed. And what that would also do is if there's any changes proposed in the future, it would require, any more impactful work or getting closer to that setback line to go through the biological study again, and make sure that we're not, again, promoting any adverse impacts. So this is the buildable, non-buildable area, and I just wanted to demonstrate the area in red is the area that is not buildable due to creek setbacks, so due to that 25 feet on each side. Any area within there cannot be paved, disturbed, or touched, really. Now, the cross-hatched area shows the buildable area following the 25-foot setback, and the gray area around it are the setbacks that every house has, so the 5 foot on the side and 15 at the rear. What this results in is a 25-foot wide buildable area at the front of the lot and a 16-foot wide buildable area at the rear. So just kind of demonstrating, again, with the creek in the middle of the lot, that it's really hitting both sides of the property and limiting the area to build. And then this you'll recognize from the H.T. Harvey, who's a consultant, their report. And with this, I just wanted to show existing and proposed impervious areas. So on the left is the lot as it is currently. The gray area is all impervious area. And so with the new proposal, you'll see on the right that gray area is being reduced, which is what we would want near the creek. And the pink area, which is pervious, is getting bigger. So we hired H.T. Harvey, who's the consultant, to review the impact of the proposal. And they noted that the elements of the project, like moving the driveway away from the creek, reducing impervious area, demoing the garage, which is right next to the creek, would actually benefit the stream. The other thing that they noted is that when you have the impervious area near the creek, that's allowing stormwater to go, right over the concrete straight into the creek as it's picking up pollutants. So increasing the pervious area near the creek will actually allow that water to be absorbed into the ground and have the creek and stream become or have better water quality down the road. So this is a view of the creek at the front looking back. So you can actually see the garage that's going to be removed on the left side of the screen. And on the right is the neighbor's property. So as you can see, the creek is, there's retaining walls up and down the creek. The consultant also noted that ivy that you see along there is an invasive species, which reduces kind of any value of the creek for wildlife. However, they did note that there could be bird species that nest there during nesting season, and so they included in the report several conditions in order to comply with both state and federal laws regarding bird nesting and migration. So those have been included in the conditions of approval. They also suggested several kind of best management practices, which we also included in the conditions of approval in order not to damage the creek or stream or, discharge pollutants or anything like that during construction. So in terms of outreach, sorry, let me go back one sec. So because of the report and the recommendation by H.G. Harvey that the ecology will improve in the creek, and due to the limitations of building on the site, staff is supportive of the proposal, and we are recommending approval for that. In terms of public outreach, staff has received no feedback from neighbors in response to the city's notification of the meeting. However, the owners did reach out to their neighbors twice, and we received 5 letters of no concern as a result of their direct outreach. And I believe they have a neighbor here this evening as well. This is the motion. Should you wish to approve it, I'm available for questions, and the property owners and applicant are also here as well. Thank you.
All right, does anyone have any questions for staff at this time?
Yeah, I do. Andrea, can you walk me through what the biological study would be, assuming this is approved? When does that happen, and what does that entail?
So that was actually done as part of the...
Okay, so it's not an additional biological study?
Correct. Now, kind of one caveat to that is if for some reason they're want to in the future add on towards the creek, then we require another one. Or if they're doing something that we know is going to impact the birds during nesting season, they'd have to kind of monitor that and hire people to come make sure they're doing the right thing. But assuming they don't do that, then the study that's attached would be what we would go off of.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff at this time?
No, I can't remember an application in the last 5 years that we've had where it's creeks on the side. It's usually the back. So this is kind of one of those really unusual situations, not to mention the lot and the dimensions of that lot are something I haven't ever seen as well.
You haven't seen a bat-shaped lot before?
No.
All right. Okay.
Never.
All right. Any other questions for staff at this time?
I just have a comment that usually projects we look at are controversial because they're going up in the air and not out so much, and 2 stories instead of going back to 1 story or remaining 1 story.
Sure.
All right. Does the applicant wish to make a presentation? All right. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
I don't have any questions for the applicant.
Okay. We have public comment. You don't have to fill out a form. We just ask you to fill out a form. You can fill out a form. You can not fill out a form. You can come up and then fill out a form later. You can not come up. You have multiple options.
I will come up.
Okay.
My name is Ellen Bateman. I live at 1113 Dayton. I approve it. I think it's...
Sorry, you can't approve.
As a neighbor, I have no objections to the new plan for 1125 Dayton. I do have a comment regarding the ivy and the birds. I think more so the ivy is a home for rats and not birds, and it would be really nice if it was gone. But no, it's a design that is much more satisfactory to the neighborhood than what is existing, and I just like it.
That's very nice. Okay. Unless someone has come up with another question for anyone, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Harper Patterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergman?
Yes.
Commissioner Bradley?
Yes.
Chair Silberman?
Yes. Any discussion among the commission?
Yeah, I feel it's important to make this point publicly, that I think this is a nice-looking craftsman. I'm known as a little bit as a craftsman
She's kind of
disliker,
anti-craftsman.
but that
Her house is actually surrounded,
in Craftsman Row.
surrounded
Right.
by craftsmen. They don't
By
actually
faux craftsmen.
legally they don't encroach, but they encroach upon her peace of mind.
I'm surprised she showed up, actually. But
there are many craftsmen that come before us that that put the very bare minimum of craftsman detail to pass it off as a craftsman to be then sold to somebody else. That is not an I'll keep at all keeping with the traditional craftsman. This, I think, in both size and scale and story and detail actually works and is a good example of a good craftsman. So I just clearly felt I needed to say that. It looks lovely.
That 10-step program is really working out for you.
I've been really working on my craftsman issues.
Any other discussion among the commission? I did compare the recommendations in the study to the recommendations in the requirements in the code compliance certificate, but I didn't go word for word. Are they identical?
I would say probably like 95%. I might have left out.
I mean, there were a couple times you had to sort of change like the structure of a sentence, but are there any substantive differences?
Every recommendation in the report was put into the draft code compliance.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I would entertain a motion. Some
Angela,
random,
I think I'll make the motion.
some
even.
random seven-line motion.
going on here.
I know. I move that the Planning Commission grant design review approval for a new 3,737 square foot house and associated determination of the creek setback at 1125 Dayton Avenue as proposed, based on the required findings contained in the staff report and subject to the conditions listed in the draft certificate of compliance.
I'll second that.
Right, and there's a second. Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Harper Pedersen?
Yes.
Commissioner Gutierrez?
Yes.
Commissioner Bergman?
Yes.
Commissioner Bradley?
Yes?
Chair Silverman?
Yes. Congratulations. Enjoy your year plus of construction. I hope you enjoy living in a temporary residence, and it may go easily. All right. So moving on to reports, correspondence, and general information. Is there any report on recent City Council actions?
Thank you. The City Council did approve your recommendation for the ordinance for the eucalyptus trees, the founder tree designation, and they also certified the negative declaration. So that was approved at the meeting. The next follow-up step will be coming back with the tree removal plan and the contractor's bid to remove the trees. I know at least one council member discussed some interest in retaining a few trees or talking then about how it would be phased. Would it be all the trees or would it be selective removal? So that determination has not been made and will be made at a future meeting, as well as a replacement plan. The council also had a study session regarding daycare and the shortage of daycare facilities in San Carlos. There was a lot of options discussed, and I think they were interested in all of them. So that is something you will definitely be seeing. Staff's going to look at, how we can make some improvements to the process. They were also interested in possibly lowering or waiving some fees. One of the areas to look at first might be the regulations affecting large daycare facilities in the home. So the small daycare is approved by right, but the larger requires, I believe, a minor use permit from the zoning administrator. So possibly having some more objective criteria that if you meet this criteria and comply with these performance standards, then you maybe could be approved at a staff level. And then there's also some interest in looking at what other areas of the city would be appropriate for daycare facilities, possibly expanding it to maybe the GCI, which would be in the east side, but more commercial, less industrial nature. So looking at some of those options as well. So that'll be coming forward to the Planning Commission when ready for consideration. And I think that's about it for City Council updates. We're kind of winding down the year here, so we've got, just a few meetings left. November 6th, we'll have the continued billboard item, so apologies on the continuation. And then the January 2nd meeting will be canceled for sure, but other than that, we do plan at this point to hold other meetings, and I know staff's reached out to get scheduled, so if you could just respond if you haven't already on your availability. We just want to make sure that we're going to have a quorum, we can hold the meetings, we do have consultants lined up, so just want to be sure. And speaking of the next meeting with the billboard, Commissioner Bergman may have a conflict, so I'm going to research that, so we'll want to make sure we have a quorum present. And those are all my updates.
Okay. Are there any reports from the planning commissioners?
Nope.
Nope. I noticed that there are some correspondence relating to the billboard. I assume that'll be represented. Is there any other correspondence?
No other correspondence.
Does planning staff have any comments, reports, or updates on current projects they would like to share?
No additional. Thank you.
Well, with that, the meeting is adjourned.